Welcome back to Conversations. I'm Robin Farr, and as promised, Chris Howard is with me. Chris is the Vice President of the Soroptimist of San Ramon Valley, and of course, they've got their wonderful program for middle school girls coming up in the next couple of months called She's All That. And boy, what a great way to help girls that age sort of realize that they're not alone and how to deal with some of the pressures that they have. So, Chris, I welcome you to Conversations. Great to have you here.
Thank you. It's great to be here, Robin.
You look to me like you probably remember very well the times of middle school because you're young, and yet I remember them too, and they're really difficult, exciting because so much change is going on, but middle school girls have a lot on their plate. And I mean, obviously, that's the reason for She's All That. What are your memories of those times, and what would you want to have discussed at She's All That if it were back when you were in middle school? What were your issues?
I think for me, in middle school, it was a really big time of discovery for me. It was choosing who my friends were. It was discovering what was important to me, what I liked to do, what I liked in general, what kind of music I listened to. And there were a huge amount of influences from parents and teachers and, you know, my family and the rest of the community. But most of all, it was about the people that I went to school with, my friends. Mm-hmm. And so looking back and reflecting, what I would have wanted to know back then, you know, during that time of discovery was really what my choices were, what my options were to expand my horizons beyond just what I knew based on the people who were, you know, immediately around me at the time.
I remember so specifically wanting to be this individual, and yet certainly wanting to just fit in and look like everybody else too. And I remember that struggle of, you know, how do you break out and be your own person so that people know who you are for your individual self, and yet at the same time not stand out and be somebody who wasn't part of the crowd. And I just remember thinking, when is this going to get easier? And it does. It really does. You learn that. But I think that's also one of the things that She's All That is about. You are one of the, well, you're the keynote speaker for She's All That. Mm-hmm. What will you be addressing that really sort of hits, you know, this age, you know, 2011, and we've, you know, these young ladies who are, what, 6th to 8th grade? Is that the focus?
That's correct.
Yeah. What will your keynote speech be about?
Well, our keynote speech is a little bit different this year than it has been in prior years. And what I'll be doing is I will actually be facilitating an icebreaker activity that will encourage girls to interact with one another, to get to know people outside of their immediate group, because some girls come with friends and some girls come without friends there. And so getting the girls to talk about themselves and discover new people, potentially something that they have in common with a complete stranger throughout the day is what this icebreaker is going to be focused on.
When you and I talked earlier, and I got to know a little bit about your background, you are such a great example for, especially the girl that comes by herself. For example, you moved here from Southern California, didn't really know anybody, and what do? You join the Soroptimists. You're now the vice president. You get involved, and I just think that is a huge role model for girls to, you know, there's going to be the girl there that's by herself, and how does she cope? And that's sort of the issue. Will you be discussing the big issue we talked about last year, Mean Girls? Is that still in there?
Yes, that is definitely.
Why is that such a hot button topic, isn't it?
That is one of the most popular workshops, and so time and time again, we survey, we do focus groups, we do evaluations to get a feel for what topics we can bring in, which ones we should continue. And Mean Girls is definitely one that that we know people like, and that we should continue, and we do.
How do, I mean, as you're talking to them, you're teaching them how to handle this sort of a thing, but do you ever get feedback afterwards to, you know, to like, oh yes, I did have a confrontation with a mean girl and I simply used the tools and lessons that I was taught at She's All That? Do you get feedback? Are you finding that these are solutions that are helping young ladies?
Well, the feedback that we get is usually immediate feedback. Although we do try to go back after people have come through or girls have come through the workshop and collect that type of feedback to see how effective it was. Usually it's very difficult to get that kind of information. But the people that have given us feedback and the girls who have continued and the parents who have participated in those surveys after participation have indeed shared that they see a difference in how girls deal with the mean girl topic and some of the bullying that might happen amongst girls that age.
We have had several shows on the topic of teens and the cyberbullying that goes on. Will you be addressing those kinds of things too? Because it's the same idea. Mean girls, you can do it online or you can do it in person, but mean is mean no matter what. And now the technology seems to have made it more accessible, the meanness.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely a topic that we offer as a workshop to the girls. And what we have done this year that we haven't done in past years is actually started offering more workshops, I should say, to the parents. And
Great.
So these kinds of topics, for parents, give another viewpoint of how to deal with the issues that these girls are going to be facing. So the girls themselves, obviously, are going to get an opportunity to really understand some tactics and techniques on how to cope. But we're also offering the type of workshops that, that help parents understand how to be supportive and provide insight and advice to their tween. With topics such as you address with the technology and all of the changes that have happened since, we've been teenagers.
Yeah, well, I think that's the thing that just keeps coming up over and over again when I've done my show on this particular topic is that the parents aren't aware, and their children, and the daughters in this case, not saying anything and just kind of suffering alone through the things. And if the parents really could understand this is what's going on, and all it takes is a quick, text, and you're destroyed. And I think if parents learn this, that's what you're doing. You're letting them know this is what your child is up against.
Absolutely. And in days of Facebook and MySpace, how to really project a positive image and how to think longer term beyond, just tomorrow or the next day on how you come across on these social media sites also is another topic that we talk about with the girls, and we offer also for parents to really get a better understanding of.
And I didn't think about that, but that would be important. It's not just about being mean or not being mean. It's how are you projecting yourself.
Absolutely.
And the ramifications of that, because I think sometimes young people don't realize what they're doing and how it can have an effect later on.
Yep. Definitely.
Yeah. So I just remember being in middle school and just couldn't wait to get into high school, somehow thinking that things would get better, and then in high school thinking, okay, college, I'll just wait till I get there. But what makes that time so difficult? Is it just the teenage angst thing, or the tweens, as we say? What makes this time so hard? Why have a program like She's All That specifically for middle school?
Well, Soroptimist has been doing this conference now for 8 years. And 8 years ago, we were taking a look at, where can we make a big impact on the community? And we had seen these types of workshops given for young adults. We'd seen them even at the high school level. But what we hadn't seen is going a few years earlier and really capturing, that audience that is about to engage and about to embark on that, high school journey. And so what we found was that there was definitely a gap in starting to educate girls about what they can expect, before they actually got there. So, what we have done and what we have found is that it's given them a head start and a jump start to the types of angst that they're going to be experiencing before they ever even experience it. And what we've discovered is it is starting even earlier than high school in some cases.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's why this is wise to catch them,
Definitely.
Earlier than that. So what kind of feedback have you received? I mean, now that this has been going on for a few years, you're really hearing back, and we know Mean Girls is very popular. What other feedback have people given you, parents and the young ladies?
Yeah, I think the most common feedback that we get is that She's All That should be mandatory for all middle school girls. You know, we see participants come back, you know, girls come back year after year. So if they're on if they're at the 6th grade level, we see them come back for 7th grade. We see them come back at the 8th grade year and take different workshops and kind of explore different, you know, different avenues that we offer there within the workshops.
Who is, I mean, obviously tween girls, but I mean, is it anybody in the area can come to She's All That?
Absolutely.
Okay.
The only restrictions really are age level because the workshops are geared toward a specific age level. So that's the only criteria there.
Okay, and their parents who would like to go to that.
Absolutely.
Then. All right. How many more years do you think the Soroptimists will do this? Because I think I did the interview when the very first one happened and made some wonderful friends from Soroptimists just from doing this interview. But I mean, is this something, girls keep growing up, and so will this go on endlessly?
I don't see an end in sight, really. There has been so much passion and energy around this project and great response to it. And, you know, although we see, you know, our girls go through these workshops and then enter into high school, there's always that next level and that next generation that comes through. And so, yeah, I think as long as we continue to get positive responses, we're going to continue doing it.
Give us just real quickly, so it's going, and we'll give the information in just a moment, but it's an all-day event from 9 to 3. So, and everything we register online and get all of that done. So what happens at 9 o'clock? I mean, do we start right off with breakout workshops, or is there a big meeting where everybody is together? How does lunch work? What goes on like in that whole day?
Sure. At the very beginning, what we do is we have our keynote speaker for the girls, and they're in a separate place. We have a keynote speaker for the adults, and they address, you know, the audience that is appropriate. And from there, we have 3 different workshop sessions. So the girls and the parents each choose, you know, their workshops prior to coming through. And at the end of the workshops, then we have an all-together kind of raffle and closing piece to it. So the girls are separated from their parents, and you know, that's intentional, so that the girls can go through and you know, really hear the messages that are targeted for them, and the parents can do the same and go through workshops that are targeted for them.
Okay, and then do they come together at lunchtime, or how does that work?
They have separate lunches.
Okay, so they really are on their own, but the idea being, let's let parents know what the girls are dealing with, and let's give the girls tools to deal with this stuff.
Yes.
So, all right, and so you just have to be in 6th through 8th grade, okay, or a parent of a 6th through 8th grade girl, right? Okay.
That's correct.
Let's give out the information. So this is called She's All That, and boy, they are. We had one on last year. She was fabulous. It's presented by, of course, the Soroptimist International of San Ramon Valley. This event is taking place on Saturday, February 12th, 2011, and it's from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's at San Ramon Valley High School in Danville, and you do want to register now. Registration begins now, and it will stop a couple of weeks before the event, so you do want to get in there. www.soroptimist-sr.org, and please look at the spelling of Soroptimist. I get it wrong every time. S-O-R-O-P-T-I-M-I-S-T.
That's correct.
So great to have you on the show, Chris. Thanks so much for being on here, and I wish you great success with She's All That. I love this program. Great for middle school girls.
Thank you, Robin.
And that'll do it for this edition of Conversations. We'll do it again next week. Until then, I'm Robin Farr. Have a wonderful day. If you'd like to order a copy of this show, please visit our website at trivalleytv.org.